Let me ask you a question. What would you do if someone collapsed right in front of you? It's a scary thought, right? But knowing the answer is absolutely critical. In this explainer, we're going to break down the simple, life-saving steps of first aid that can make all the difference in an emergency.
So let's just start right there. Picture this scenario. It can happen to anyone, anywhere. You're just walking down the street, maybe you're in a grocery store, or even at the office, and bam, someone suddenly collapses. Your first instinct might be panic, but trust me, knowledge is your most powerful tool here.
And the stakes are just incredibly high. To put it into perspective, look at this number, 1.9 million. That is the number of brain cells a person can lose for every single minute a stroke goes untreated. You see, in any medical emergency, whether it's a stroke or cardiac arrest, time is everything. Every second literally counts.
Now, this isn't about trying to become a doctor overnight. Not at all. It's about empowering you to be that crucial first link in what's called the chain of survival. It's all about knowing exactly what to do in those vital first few minutes before professional help can even get there.
So what even is first aid? Well, at its core, it's that immediate, temporary care you provide. Think of it as the first essential intervention that can stabilize someone's condition, stop it from getting worse, and literally build a bridge until the paramedics take over. And what's really cool is that the whole philosophy of first aid really just boils down to these three simple goals. You can think of them as the 3 Ps. Number 1, your main job is to preserve life. Number 2, prevent further harm. Make sure the situation doesn't get any worse. And number 3, promote recovery, helping to kickstart that healing process. Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we achieve those goals? Well, it all starts with 2 absolutely critical first steps: assessing the scene and then getting help. Before you do anything else, these have to be your top priorities. Before you rush in, stop. Seriously, take a breath. Your own safety is the most important thing. You can't help anyone if you get hurt too, right? So just quickly look around. Is there traffic? A fire? Downed power lines? Just get a quick feel for what's going on. Right, so once you know the scene is safe, this is your next non-negotiable step. Get that phone out of your pocket and call for emergency services. Or, even better, point directly at someone else and say, "You, call 911. Activating professional help is the most important thing you can possibly do. Okay, the scene is safe and you know help is on the way. Now you can focus on the person. So let's start with the most serious scenario, someone who is completely unresponsive. This is how you figure out really fast if someone needs immediate, life-saving help. You're going to kneel down beside them, tap their shoulders pretty firmly, and shout something like, "Hey, are you okay?" while you're looking at their chest for any signs of breathing. This whole check should take like 5 to 10 seconds, max. Now, you've probably heard of CPR, but what you might not know is that for most of us, the general public, there's a simpler version that's now recommended. It's called hands-only CPR. Turns out, it's just as effective for an adult who suddenly collapses, and it gets rid of that hesitation some people have about giving rescue breaths. And this is just a brilliant trick for getting it right. CPR can feel really intimidating, but this simple idea makes it so easy to remember the correct rhythm. The beat of the Bee Gees' song "Stayin' Alive," no joke, is the perfect tempo for chest compressions. That rhythm gets you right into the target zone you're aiming for, which is a rate of 100 to 120 compressions every minute. The whole goal here is just to keep blood moving, to keep it circulating to the brain and other vital organs until help arrives. Now, along with that speed, depth is absolutely critical. For an adult, you need to push down at least 2 inches. I know it might feel like a lot, but that is what it takes to manually pump the heart. So remember, push hard and push fast. All right, but what if the person is conscious, but they're in really bad shape? Let's quickly look at 2 really common and super serious situations: choking and severe bleeding. These are the signs you just can't miss. Someone's airway is completely blocked. They can't talk, they can't cough, and they're probably doing the universal sign for choking, clutching their throat with both hands. This is a true emergency, and you have to act fast. So here's what you do. You're going to perform what most people call the Heimlich Maneuver. Get right behind them and start with 5 really sharp back blows, right between their shoulder blades. If that doesn't work, you'll make a fist, place it just above their belly button, and perform 5 quick upward abdominal thrusts. And you just keep alternating. 5 back blows, 5 thrusts, until that object comes out. Okay, now bleeding. Forget what you've seen in the movies. The single most important thing, the number one thing you can do to control severe bleeding is this: Apply firm, direct pressure right on the wound. Grab a clean cloth, a t-shirt, whatever you have, and just push down hard and hold it. That simple action can literally save a life.
So let's wrap all this up by really understanding your role here. You're not just a bystander watching things happen. You are an absolutely essential part of that chain of survival we talked about.
This is so important to get. Your actions, they aren't a substitute for doctors and paramedics. They are the essential bridge to get that person to professional help. You are there to keep them going and prevent things from getting worse until the experts can take over.
I know a common fear is, but what if I do something wrong? What if I hurt them? Well, it's really important to know that good Samaritan laws exist pretty much everywhere to protect people who step up to help. As long as you act in good faith and do what any reasonable person would do, you are generally protected. Look, if you remember absolutely nothing else from all of this, remember this slide. It boils everything down to the 3 most vital actions. If someone is unresponsive, you call for help, then push hard and fast. If someone is choking, back blows and abdominal thrusts. And for severe bleeding, apply firm, direct pressure. Simple as that.
The whole point of this explainer is to show you that you are so much more capable than you think you are. Honestly, the worst thing you can do in an emergency is to do nothing. Your decision to get involved, to take these simple steps, that can be the deciding factor between life and death.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. You have the knowledge now. The question is no longer, what do I do? The real question is, am I ready to be the person who acts? You have what it takes to be that